Are RRSPs, registered retirement savings plans, a bad thing? Should you be using them, and can they help you reach retirement quicker and with more money? We're going to break that all down in this video. Over the last few years, we've had a lot of people reach out and say, Adam, RRSPs don't make sense for me because of X, Y, or Z. Or people leaving comments on YouTube saying, RRSPs don't make sense. Now, I think a lot of this has to do with people's income levels, people's education around RRSPs, how they work. I'm not going to go through all of that in this video, but I will break down with our software what this looks like, why RRSPs might make sense for you, and where that tipping point is of, okay, RRSPs probably make sense for me or they don't. Let's jump into the planning software right away. So what we have here is a 40-year-old person, individual, not married, not common law, and they have an employment income of $65,000. And so what I've done here is you'll see under their employment income, $65,000. I've inflated that every single year at 2%. And I've left their income needs, so their after-tax in their pocket income needs, at $45,000 in today's dollars. And what I've done is said, look, this person's making $65,000, they're paying into EI and CPP, and they need $45,000. Whatever is left at the end of the day, let's put into the TFSA account. So anything that they're able to save on an annual basis, let's put it into the TFSA and grow it at 6%. No money into the RRSP, no money into a non-registered savings plan. As we fast forward all the way down, when this 45-year-old retires at age 65, we can see they've started CPP and OAS here when they hit retirement, and everything that they've built up into their TFSA, they start drawing down. And what we've done is we said, look, based on everything that this person saved up and accumulated in that TFSA account, along with their CPP and OAS, and they live all the way till age 90, how much income can they have? So again, $65,000 of income inflated, $45,000 of income need is going to leave them with just slightly under what they've been living off of while they were working, of $43,441. So that is the after-tax real dollar that they're going to collect from age 65 to age 90. Now let's look at the same scenario, but if this person had utilized an RRSP versus a TFSA. So again, the same scenario, no changes here other than any extra money we've put into the RRSP, we've then taken the tax refund and put it into a TFSA essentially. So what we've done is we've topped up the RRSP at $10,000 the first year, and then we've increased that a little bit every single year going forward. Any additional money on top of the $45,000 that's needed, a lot of this would be coming from the tax refund. Again, when you put money into an RRSP, you get a tax deduction, which will lower your tax bill, give you hopefully a bit of a tax refund, or at least allow you to pay less tax, leaving more in your money, or more money in your pocket up front. So that extra money that's in your pocket, we've allocated to the TFSA here just to create a bit of flexibility. But what we've done focused here is that RRSP, $10,000, increasing it every year as this person's income increases. $45,000 of annual income need. Now, if we jump all the way down to 65 when they retire, same CPP, same OAS, but now we have an RRSP, which we would convert to a RIF, a retirement income fund, and the TFSA to draw down on. Now, don't focus on where we're drawing money from. Like, we wouldn't draw all that money out of the TFSA versus RRSP. This is not a tax video. What I want to look at here is this real dollar income while in retirement. And you can see it's jumped up to $45,371. So that's roughly $2,000 of extra income every year adjusted for inflation right through retirement. Now again, they're going to pay tax on the RRSP pulling it out down the road versus scenario one with the TFSA. They don't pay tax on that money, but you can see that the after-tax income in their pocket in retirement is about $2,000 per year higher in retirement than it is utilizing the TFSA. So does the RRSP make sense for this? Absolutely. $2,000 a year in real dollars down the road, that's a big, big difference. But again, where's that tipping point? Let's look at another scenario with a bit of a higher income, and then I'll talk about a bit of a lower income. I'll quickly scan through this one because you've been through the process here before, but we bumped the employment income up to $85,000, income needs or lifestyle needs of $60,000, and saving the rest. Again, TFSA account, if we scroll down, it's going to leave this client with $41,460. If we look at the same thing utilized in the RRSP and we scroll down to age 65, you can see $43,441 $480. So again, about a $2,000 difference. Now, part of a plan like this, we'd obviously create a bit of a RSP meltdown. We could look at laddered income strategy, all those other things we look at. That's not what this video is about again. It's about, does an RSP make sense? And I just had a phone call with someone yesterday and they said, Adam, I'm late 40s. I was always taught by my dad that RRSPs are a waste. And I hear that all the time. And so we broke it down for him, very similar to this, saying RRSPs are going to save you a lot of money. And it was actually substantially more than this because he had a lot of RRSP room, he had some money coming in, all of that. So everyone's situation is a little bit different. Now, where's that tipping point? Typically, I'll say around $50,000 to $55,000 of income. If you're over $50,000 to $55,000, you want to look to utilize an RRSP. If you're under, a TFSA. Now, if you're wondering where I get that $50,000, $55,000 from, it's based on tax rate. So if we look here, we're looking at Ontario here. You can pick up your province. Again, I only pick Ontario because it's the center of the universe. Again, 53,000. Above that, you jump from 24% of tax up to 29. And then it slowly scales 31, 33. And then once you're over 100, it gets to about 38%. So depending on where you live, you want to look at the tax rate. And typically in that 50 to 55,000 range, I know in BC it's around the same mark, there's kind of a big bump. And that's typically where we say, look, an RSP is going to start to make more sense for you. Again, talk to your financial advisor, run through your plan, see what makes the most sense for you. But if you're making over that amount, probably utilize an RSP. If you're making under that amount, utilize a TFSA. Now, the benefit with an RRSP is it's going to grow for you, tax deferred. So everything you put in there is going to grow until when you need it in retirement on a tax deferred basis, meaning you're not going to pay any tax on any growth until you pull it out down the road. You also get the tax deduction. So you're getting a tax savings today. And that's where you want to make sure you're in a high enough tax bracket to get enough of a tax savings. In a perfect world, while you're working, you're paying a higher rate of tax, utilizing the RSP, and then later on down the road in retirement, you're in a lower tax bracket. Now, obviously, we don't know what our tax bracket's going to be down the road, so we kind of have to use data that we have today, right? Any financial plan, any forecasting, we have to use some assumptions. So if we assume that tax rates are going to be around where they are now, and your tax rate right now, your marginal tax rate, which is the amount of tax you're paying on the next dollar that you earn. So again, in Ontario, if you're making $70,000, your marginal tax rate is 29.65%. That means that every dollar that you earn at $70,000, you're paying 29.65% of tax. So that's your marginal tax rate. So that's what you want to look at. So if you're paying a 29% tax rate now, and then in retirement you expect to be much lower, then you're getting a big tax break now. You're able to utilize that tax refund. You're able to grow that money tax deferred, and down the road you're going to pay a smaller amount of tax when you pull it out. Remember, when you hit 65, there's a lot of tax credits available to you. And we'll do a video on that, but we talk about how much less tax you pay with the same amount of taxable income when you hit retirement. The last point I'll make on RSPs is, if you're not sure if you should use an RSP or TFSA, do a bit of both. A hybrid strategy can work great. Do a bit to get the tax refund, do a bit to create that TFSA. Again, a TFSA and an RSP comes down to what your tax rates are, but also you need to look at what your needs are. That money that you're saving, is it for retirement? Is it for more of a shorter to medium term goal? Well, then you want to be utilizing the TFSA account. So understand how these accounts work, but a lot of you are omitting the RSP because of something you were taught when you were younger, that RSPs don't make sense, they don't work, they're bad for you. They're not. I've been in this business almost 20 years. We've done thousands of financial plans, dealt with thousands of clients over the years, and I've never come across a situation where I've said, man, RSPs just did not make sense for you. Like, it's worked backwards. I've never come across a situation. And we've worked with clients that have made not a lot of money while they're working, and they have an RSP that's worth millions of dollars because they hit really well on one stock. And it still made sense for them. They're still in a great position in retirement, and they wouldn't have done it any other way. So if you're kind of on the sideline with RSPs, start watching more videos around RSPs, how they work, the benefits to you. But again, if you're over that threshold, 50, 55,000, you need to consider using an RSP.